also know that you don't see me at party meetings, because one of the benefits of a public administrator, whether you be at the county level or at the city level, is that your job is to try to bridge gaps between people of all political persuasions, partisan, nonpartisan, otherwise. And the things that I want to share with you today is, if you live in the city of La Crosse or you know any voters in the city of La Crosse, probably the most important decision that this community is going to make in the next couple of months, other than what you just heard about from a former colleague of mine, Catherine Falk, is the decision about whether or not to create the position of city administrator. I'm going to share a few things with you. Some of you may be attending the LADCO forum tomorrow. There's going to be a panel discussing items. But I think while there are communities that work very well with only a mayor form of government, there are communities that work very well with a city manager or city administrator. I think fundamentally you've got to ask yourself one question: how's our city doing? When you think about city government, how do you think it's doing? What's your image of city government in La Crosse? A fine-tuned, well-honed operation where diplomatic dialogue happens, where respect for people on both sides of an issue, just kind of oozes out of the debate, where there aren't every week a new controversy? That's not the image that I'm getting. And I should share with you that as a public administrator, I'm a part of what's called International City County Management Association, an international association of professional public administrators. We do not get involved in campaigns. Those that have worked with me for quite some time know that I don't sign nomination papers, don't sign recalls, I don't write checks, I don't get involved in elections, and that hopefully, even though I have very strong opinions, those that know me have very strong opinions about what's happened in this state, but I don't get involved because that's not my role. That's also what a city administrator will do for us, is someone that can actually bridge the gap between a mayor, whoever he or she may be, a city council that is very divided. But in 26 plus years that I've been in local government, I've never seen a local government organization that's more dysfunctional, that's more contentious, less productive, less efficient. And I believe that while a city administrator isn't going to bring us to the land of milk and honey, we're not going to have, nirvana, but we will start moving systematically towards more professionalism, better accountability. And one of the big issues that's being thrown out about why we shouldn't have an administrator is actually a red herring, and it's a wrong interpretation of state law. You may have heard that the city attorney has opined that it requires a 3/4 vote to eliminate the person once they're hired. That's actually the only interpretation that I can find in the state of Wisconsin, that any city creating a city administrator has determined that. As a county administrator, I know that I take the risk when I take the job that I'm at will, and I serve at the pleasure of a majority of the board, not a supermajority, not 2/3, not a maximum, but a majority. And when the county board created my position, they invested in my success and I invested in theirs. They stuck their neck out and said this was the best guy we could find. So I'm disappointed for them, but I was the best guy they could find. And they said, we want this guy and this organization to move ahead and be successful. I was invested in their success because I had to prove them right. And we had a group of 32 department heads that said, we want to make this guy successful too. And together as an organization, we have built an organization that has a better culture, a better connection with our elected officials than most others. And in fact, when the chips were down this year, you know what our board did when Walker changed all the collective bargaining relationships and did everything over a short period of time. Our board came together. Steve Doyle, Tara Johnson, Joe Billings, Vicki Burke, Maureen, Monica, the people that you know and appreciate came together and said, that's not how we do business here. We're not going to disrespect our employees. The administrator is a reflection of the board that he or she works with, and in the city organization, that's what we would hope to expect, is someone that can build connections, build a relationship, be more cost effective than our current operation. In addition to that, just coincidentally, there's a study that we'll put out on the Administrator Yes website by IBM called Smarter, Faster, Cheaper, and Operations Efficiency Benchmarking Study of 100 American cities. Nationally, they've done an analysis and controlled for everything from poverty, from tax base to per capita spending, and they found that cities with management, professional management, are 10% more cost effective and cost 10% less than the other communities that have strong mayor forms of government. So we'll put that out there. That's additional research and additional information. We also, if you're interested, and I strongly encourage, Maureen's always keeping me on track and making sure that we're sending things out. We've got a handout. If you'd like an administrator yes sign, it really looks cool too. Somebody has a really neat design. Have you seen them? They're orange and they have the arches of our two bridges and everything, so it really talks about a new future. Maureen, do you have any? You're going to follow up with people if they sign up? Okay. So I'll start passing that around. Please do that. Again, I mentioned this is the only campaign I can be a part of. This is the only place in 30 years since I've been in public administration that I could write a campaign check or actually be involved, because under our code of ethics, we don't get involved in campaigns, but we can promote our profession because we believe it serves the public better to promote the idea, and yet it's still a decision of the people. It's a referendum that we have. Another point, and I'll open up the floor in case there are any questions. When we talk about whether or not we're satisfied with our city government and how it operates, that earlier question, if you're satisfied with city government, then probably vote no. If you believe we can do something better, also ask yourself, why isn't our city more accomplished and more effective? It's not simply about the administrator, it's about the culture, it's about the environment, and it looks like we keep trying to do something on our own without following the lead of other communities. Out of the top 15 cities in this state, by population above 43,000, every single one has some form of professional management or administration on staff except for Appleton and us. Every single one, including Milwaukee, Green Bay, Madison, and every other city has either a city manager or city administrator of some type, and Appleton has had a mayor since 1996. Now maybe it seems to be working fine. Tim Hanna is a very impressive gentleman. I've worked with him on a couple of committees. He seems to know his business, but I don't think that the problems in this community are because of this mayor or the previous mayor or the mayor before that. It's about our form of government and a culture of not building commonality, not building relationship, not solving problems, and doing it respectfully. And that's what I believe an administrator can offer. I've been spending the last couple days, actually, Matt Harder and I have been talking one-on-one about what this could mean. I believe the administrator needs to reach out to the mayor if we create an administrator, needs to be a part of that interaction and lift him up and make him more successful, and the council more successful, and the organization more successful. That's what we've done at the County of La Crosse. I think we can do that at the City of La Crosse with the right individual, with a national search. You know, when I came here, although I'd been to La Crosse, I had no connections to anybody on the board, I had no connections to the community, and the advantage to that is I could be a third party at times. I could be a facilitator. And I think we produced some pretty good results, and I hope we can do the same thing with a different person for City of La Crosse. I'm not aspiring to the job. I love my job, so I've got no vested interest other than a professional opinion that I think this organization and this community deserves better than our current form of government. So I think I'm going to take a deep breath, see if there was something else I wanted to share with you. Other people talk about that the reason we shouldn't have one is a loss of control, which is why the terms of an employment agreement are really critical. One of the advantages to a public administrator that's hired professionally besides qualifications is if it's not working out in the eyes of the elected officials, they can terminate the person. Unlike an elected position that generally, except for lately, is till the end of the term, right? And that's the usual method, you would say. But a public administrator should serve at the pleasure of the elected officials so that he or she is meeting their expectations as they represent the community. And so I'm going to continue to raise that as an issue at the forum tomorrow. I think it's critical and actually puts more control for expectations and accountability on the board, on the council in this case, and on the appointed official. So I still don't know who talked me into coming to this meeting. I have a feeling that lady over there. Laura's been great to help us with the Administrator Yes campaign. I see a lot of other volunteers that have been putting in a ton of time on this. We have 2 weeks to go. I'm not sure the message is getting out enough. I sure hope it is, because I don't know how many more chances we're going to get. But if you believe in improved government, if you believe in being responsive to the community, this is the single most important decision